From America to Australia and everywhere in between, we bring you inspiring, informative interviews with accomplished South Asian diaspora spanning every field and walk of life. Welcome to the Desi Buzz Talk Show with your host, Dr. Shabana Parvez.
Welcome back to the show. I'm so pleased to have with me today Miss Saba Haider. She brings over a decade of experience in the health and wellness sector, which is, of course, near and dear to my heart, offering consulting services to top firms, teaching yoga, meditation. She is very involved in her community. She's actually been very pivotal in the DuPage County Health Department and the Educational Foundation, supporting lots of local councils. She's committed to enhancing the community's educational and health resources. She is also consulting with corporations to improve corporate health culture across Chicagoland. And most urgently and most recently, she is running to represent District 84, DuPage County, Illinois, in the State Assembly of Illinois. So I'm so excited to meet with you today, Saba. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Parvez. It's my honor to be able to connect with you and be able to talk to your audience. So it's a pleasure, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Nice to have you. Let's go ahead and get started with the interview. One of the first questions I had is relating to your early background. I guess you were born in India, correct? Was it Ghaziabad, India?
Ghaziabad, yes, that's correct.
And then you went to Aligarh Muslim University. So in that, reflecting on your early that education, how has that upbringing and education shaped who you are today as a person?
And I'm just so glad that you're starting this conversation from that question, because I feel like that really touches to the core of who I am as a human being. And when we go back to what started all of this and how my early childhood shaped the person that I am today, it truly just boils down to my parents. And I know it's a cliched answer, but truly, my mom, she runs a school for underprivileged kids in India, still in Ghaziabad.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. My dad, he's a retired civil engineer. And the focus of my parents all through our childhood, we had three siblings, was focus on your education, work hard, and never forget to give back to the community. And these principles were so deeply imbibed in the three of us that I carry that with me today, whether it is being in my school life. I went to Holy Child Convent School in Ghaziabad, whether it's being part of that school system or finishing my master's in wildlife science at Aligarh Muslim University. Those three things have always stood out and shaped really who I am today as a mother, as a community organizer, and as a public servant.
Great. So as I think your studying was more like sciences and wildlife. So what kind of inspired that shift from wildlife sciences to public service and community leadership?
I truly believe that whenever things happen in your life, they are meant to be. And I did not think that when I was doing my master's in wildlife science, that when I shift to public service, when I become an elected official, that those skills are going to somehow translate into what I'm able to do as a public servant, as an elected official, but they truly are. So the skills, the training that I got from my educational background, from being in the jungles, working on endangered species, studying them, being out in the field, being out in tiger reserves, national parks, bird sanctuaries, all of that information, all of this that training is helping shape how I make sure that the air, land, and water right now that my children have access to, and thousands and hundreds and thousands of children in my communities have access to, are clean, are safe, and we leave them better for the next generations to come versus how we get them. So they truly shape my training, my background, shape how I prepare my communities and leave them for future generations. And the common thread again is that being able to give back to the community.
Yeah, that's great.
And whether it is taking care of the environment or whether it is taking care of the families that are trying to understand the school systems in our areas, whether it is making policy, whether it is helping communities as an elected official, all of these things are driven by a desire to help and support the families that are around my areas.
Sure. Oh, by the way, just we did want to mention that you are elected in DuPage County currently, right? And you're on the board of the
Yes,
county advisory board.
yes.
Yes.
So I
Um,
am currently the DuPage County Commissioner
yes.
in Illinois.
Right. So so from India to Illinois, um, this journey, and then from India to Illinois in terms of politics in Illinois, who would you say has been your biggest influence or your mentor in this shift or this journey, really?
This is a really tough question
Maybe there's
because
more than one, right? I'm
there are
sure.
so many people. There are
Mhm.
so many people that help you in that journey. Whether it is my mom, and I called her and I said, I'm running for office, and she said, You're crazy, but do it.
Right.
Because I don't come from a family of politicians. This isn't
Hmm.
something I've seen growing up. This isn't something in my DNA.
Right.
However, the desire to serve is in my DNA. So I believe more and more elected officials, uh, if they choose to serve from that desire to give back to the communities, I think we will be better politicians, we will be better elected officials if we did that. So
Hmm.
my mother definitely, she, as crazy as that idea sounded many, many years ago, she's like, yes, go ahead and do it. And then so many other, my friends, my family members, it is a really hard job. It is a
Hmm.
really hard job to run for office when you have to
Hmm.
go out, knock doors for several hours each day.
Hmm.
And you come home tired, you have blisters on your feet, and we've talked to tens of hundreds of people every day. It's exhausting work. And so when a friend shows up with a garam cup of chai to
Hmm.
your house in the evening, or just invites you for a cup of tea in the evening by the end of the day, it may not be, my answer may not be as glorious. But those are the things that are just so pivotal in making sure that I continue on my journey of being able
Hmm.
to run, win, and continue to serve my communities.
So it's really about the support you're getting. I guess that kind of leads into my next question because you are right now, as you said, a public servant, a very busy. You also have your own business, right? You're a business owner and you volunteer in the community. So with all of these roles, and how do you balance and manage all these responsibilities?
I am very blessed to have an incredibly supportive family.
Hmm.
My husband has been by my side with me every step of the way. My children are incredibly independent and super supportive of the idea.
Hmm.
They also understand that what we're trying to do, and this isn't something that I am trying to do, what we are trying to do as a family, as a unit, is something bigger than ourselves.
Hmm.
And for them to understand that, or for them to support me,
Hmm.
I'm, jokingly, my daughter, I was just, one of those days I wasn't feeling like fully myself, probably slightly under the weather, and I was at home.
Hmm.
And my daughter comes back, hope she's 13. She comes home and she sees me sitting on the couch, just doom scrolling one of those days. And she goes, Why are you home? Why are you not out knocking doors? Like, what?
Oh my goodness, keeping you on your toes, your
Keeping
13
me
year
on
old.
my toes. She's
Yeah,
like, You
that's
need to
fun.
win this. And if you need to win this, you need to be out knocking doors. And so they keep me going. They keep me,
Hmm.
they're so supportive. And I'm
Hmm.
just truly blessed.
Yeah. And so back to let's talk about another facet. Like I mentioned, your small business, or your business really, Ashoga Yoga LLC. Tell us
Yes.
a little bit about how that has helped you to make that connection between wellness and public service.
Yes. So when I started my business, truly the desire was to make wellness accessible to people. Oftentimes, when we see wellness, we associate that. When you think of yoga, when you think of Pilates, when you think of a gym membership, all of these things evoke a certain image in your mind that it is only accessible to those that are affluent,
Hmm.
those have, that that time available to them to be able to take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And my goal is to make sure that wellness is accessible no matter your socioeconomic status, no matter how busy you are, no matter where you are in your life stage. So my goal truly was to be able to make yoga, wellness, meditation accessible to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So I have clients, I've trained people to become yoga teachers as young as 16-year-old high school students,
Mm-hmm.
all the way up to 70s and even in their 80s. So I have clients from all ranges, whether it is age-wise, whether it is socioeconomic spectrum. The goal truly was to make this practice, make taking care of ourselves physically and mentally and emotionally accessible to these people, to all of these people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what drove me to start my business, to train people, to train more teachers so that they can continue to carry that message forward that um, it, wellness is accessible, that you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to have, a special kind of clothes, a special kind of class. Even if you
Right.
have 30 minutes or 45 minutes and you can jump on a Zoom, then you can take care of yourself, that you
Mm-hmm.
can feel you're part of a community, that you are
Mm-hmm.
part of a tribe that lifts you up, that helps you and encourages you to take care of yourself. And that truly is the basis of my yoga practice,
Mm-hmm.
my business practice, and I continue to do that.
That's great. What about you talked a little bit about your leadership roles in some of the organizations that you've been involved with. Like there is the Parent Diversity Advisory Council that you're on
Mhm.
and the Indian Prairie Educational Foundation. Were there any particular, any really meaningful outcomes or, successes maybe from that, your leadership there that you would want to mention or highlight?
Yeah. So I'm going to go back just a little bit. So when I came to the US from India almost 20 years ago, I I worked really, really hard to make sure that I don't silo myself into a certain community, a certain part of the community. I just truly, both my husband and I took this conscious decision to expand and be a part of the larger community.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the easiest way to do that was to become part of my kids' classroom. So when my son went to preschool many, many years ago, he's a senior now in high school. So this is many, many years ago. I started by cutting laminated stuff in my son's preschool classroom.
Mm-hmm.
That was my entry into how, one, I give back and also understand the system and be an
Mm-hmm.
active participant in my son's upbringing and education.
Mm-hmm.
Then I became a classroom volunteer. Then I joined the PTA, became a member of the Parent Teacher Association. Then I joined the executive board of the Parent Teacher Association. Then I
Right.
joined the leadership team of the umbrella organization that oversees all 34 PTAs in my school district, which is a really big district, the fourth largest school district in my state of Illinois, with 26,000 students. Then I became a director of the biggest nonprofit arm of my school district, Indian Prairie Educational Foundation. And along with that, I'm also on the leadership team of Parent Diversity Advisory Council, where we help a lot of parents navigate the school system.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal is truly, so through those organizations, I've been able to help provide snacks and food to families that struggle
Mm-hmm.
with being able to provide one square meal to their students. So I've been a snack drive committee chair. I have raised funds for my local communities over the years. I have, through the collaboration of me as the county commissioner and as part of being the board as well, helped bring thousands of dollars to these local nonprofits in my school district to be able to continue to support these families, whether it is through back to school supplies, whether it is snacks, and just helping the families navigate the school system. It could be as simple as how I am getting these emails. How do I make sure I get these emails in a language that I read and understand?
Mm-hmm.
How do I make sure that if I go into the orientation day for my class from my student who's entering kindergarten, and there are a bunch of flyers that are spread out, but they're not in a language that these parents that they understand. So
Mm-hmm.
making sure that a lot of the literature that's been provided during orientation day is in several different languages in
Mm-hmm.
in those school buildings. whether it is Urdu, whether it is Hindi, whether it is Telugu, Gujarati, whether it is Russian, so many other languages that these families are coming from. We have a big population. We are a very diverse community.
Mm-hmm.
So helping families support in smaller ways and larger ways through connections and collaborations as a commissioner and a director of the nonprofit, the work continues.
That's great. That sounds like a really good initiative to help with the parent. When you help the parents, then the children also obviously are going to do better when the parents are understand the system better. So that sets up everybody for success. Um, then what about going on to other committees? Like currently you're on the board of the DuPage County. So any particular initiative or policy that you are most proud of so far?
So currently on the DuPage County Board, I am the chair of the Strategic Planning Committee.
Mm,
I'm the chair of the Environmental Committee, and I'm co-chairing, rather, I should say, I'm the vice chair of the Ad Hoc Housing Committee.
mm-hmm,
Now, these three things I feel like it's just such an impactful work because as we look at our strategic plan, our goal is to be able to make sure that we are meeting all our targets when we look at the major strategic pillars of our strategic plan. So being able to track the successes of all the different departments under the county board has been huge. And I am happy to report that we are on track and we are, not only just meeting our standards, but really excelling in terms of following a strategic plan. In terms of the environmental committee chair, I am just really uh, honored to be working with an incredible staff that works really, really hard. In fact, just very recently, one of the major organizations in our area, the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus, awarded us from bronze to a silver status in all of the things that we are doing as a county to move towards a greener county in
mm-hmm,
terms of whether we have EV chargers in our at our facility in our campus, whether our roofs have solar panels, whether instead of growing grass, just regular grass, we grow native plants that are a place for uh, monarch butterflies, and tons and tons of native bird species, and just really keeping the quality of the soil intact and strong because we know that
mm-hmm,
native plants, their roots go tens of feet down into the ground versus the grass that's like hardly
mm-hmm,
4 or 6 inches down into the ground. So it really helps bind the soil together, which keeps,
mm-hmm.
which provides us a good. I know I'm going super deep. This is the stuff that I
You
absolutely
just
love,
like passionate. Obviously, you're passionate
right?
about it. Yeah.
I'm passionate about.
But
So,
yeah, that's
so
good. Like you're doing a lot of and quite a few committees I see, including now to the next one is you're also chairperson of the Asian American
yeah,
Caucus,
yes,
AAPI caucus in two counties, with
two
DuPage and Will County. So in that role, what has your biggest achievement been in building representation for that population,
yeah.
the Asian American and Pacific Islander population?
Yes. So I co-founded this caucus with many of the other community leaders, Asian
Mhm.
American Pacific Islander community leaders in my area. DuPage is the second largest county in the state of Illinois with about 1 million people,
Mm,
and Will is right behind that with about 650,000 people. So this is a great area to be able to do that. But the other thing that I want to highlight is the fact that DuPage and Will are also the two counties where the population of Asian American Pacific Islander population is growing rapidly. This is becoming a hub of AAPI communities.
hmm
So the idea of bringing this caucus together was to do three things. One, engage the AAPI communities in the civic process in their local communities.
hmm
Two, educate the community about who is going to be on their ballot. Where do they stand? Who are we supporting? Who aligns with the values that really matter to us as a community? And number three, help them run for office.
hmm hmm
Oftentimes,
So they can represent that
they can represent.
themselves. Yeah.
Oftentimes, a lot of us want to run for office, but we just don't know where to start. It just feels
Mm-hmm.
like all too daunting.
Right.
So, can we create an infrastructure? Can we create a system? Can we create an organization that they can see and say, oh, I can reach out to the AAPI caucus of Will and DuPage
Mm-hmm.
counties and
Mm-hmm.
ask for guidance and resource. And we've been able to do that. We've been able to help several candidates uh, with their campaigns, with their strategy, with engaging the local communities, and the work will continue.
All right. So, speaking of running for office, then now you have now officially announced your run, right, for the District 84th State Representative. So, what are the key issues you would like to focus on for your constituents?
So for me, truly, the basis of my campaign is three things: safety, success, and sustainability.
Mm-hmm.
Safety by expanding mental health and addiction services to my
Mm-hmm.
communities. When I'm on the DuPage County Board, especially the Board of Health of the DuPage County Health Department, we have worked really, really hard as the county board and as the Board of Health for several years now to be able to bring to DuPage County a facility of its kind, and it's called the Crisis Recovery Center, the CRC, where we are providing mental health resources not only to our adults, but also to our youth. And this has not happened anywhere else in the country except in DuPage County, where we are providing mental health and addiction services to not just adults, but also to our youth.
How young do you go for that? What's
Uh,
your age limit? 12 or?
5.
Wow.
Yes,
Amazing. Okay, I have
yes.
not heard of that anywhere else. Okay.
And we welcome everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Insured, uninsured, underinsured, we welcome everyone. We take care of everyone. And
Mm-hmm.
that has been transformational. That is going to be transformational for our communities. And I want to be able to expand that to the state level. So I worked hard to achieve that at the county level. And now that I'm running for state assembly in District 84, I want to be able to continue to expand those resources and that model to a state level.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing is success.
Mm-hmm.
How do we become successful? We become successful when the families in our communities are thriving,
Mm-hmm.
when the children receive the best education that they can in their school systems, when the families have the jobs that allow them to have that sense of safety and security, when we all feel that we have that community, the public services that they need, that God forbid something goes south, then they have those public services to rely on, to fall back on. And that is the part that I'm truly focused on. And especially as a small business owner, I know the challenges. I mean, I carried my business through COVID. I had no idea how to survive in a climate like that, especially when my business is so people focused.
Mm-hmm.
So pivoting suddenly from I was actually in the middle of a yoga teacher training when everything shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And within 24 hours, I need to figure out what Zoom was
Mm-hmm.
and how do I translate my training into an
Right.
online training. So
Mm-hmm.
taking all of these skills as a business owner, as someone who's been engaged in my communities locally at a really grassroots level to help the communities, to help families thrive economically, and finally focus on sustainability.
Mm-hmm.
How do we make sure we continue to invest in green infrastructure? How do we make sure we maintain the infrastructure that we already have in the state of Illinois? And help create policies, help support policies that are going to protect our air, land, and water for generations to come.
Oh, that's great. That's very good. So let's talk a little bit more about public health then,
Okay.
which again has been central to your work. Um, at the state level, then, what do you see in terms of your role in shaping healthcare policy?
That's an excellent question. And this is truly something that we at a sort of micro level, we are doing that at the health department. We are working on that in making sure young mothers have the resources that they need, making sure children have access to vaccinations, children have access to early childhood health care, making sure that mental health and substance abuse is the core. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the numbers are rising. The numbers are exponentially rising. We are past the pandemic, but the ramifications, the consequences, we're still figuring out how to deal with those.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we make sure that we provide that infrastructure to our students, to our families, to our seniors, to our young mothers? That's going to be the core of how I'm going to work. And the other thing that is truly important for me is I am I am one of many in the state assembly. And my goal is to work as a team leader, as a team member, as someone who is going to collaborate with other leaders in the
Hmm.
assembly to make things happen. And that's how I work overall, whether it's my business, whether it is my volunteer work in my communities, whether it is a member of the board on the county and at the health department. And I'll continue to work on in the assembly, General Assembly, with my future colleagues, hopefully, to make all of these things happen.
Okay, that's great. That's good. There is no I in team, so that's good that you really are thinking about collaboration at
There
all
is
levels.
no I in
So,
team.
yeah. Then have you had any challenges then in terms of any obstacles or challenges in your current local political, situation? I mean, how have you had challenges locally and how have you overcome those challenges?
When you run for office and when you work with people at that capacity, where you're
Hmm.
dealing with, when you're representing hundreds and thousands of people,
Hmm.
when you're making decisions for um, on behalf of almost a million people, you will always face challenges.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes there is something on the agenda that becomes quite controversial,
Hmm.
sometimes can become something that people really deeply, passionately care about.
Hmm.
And my job is to make sure that I listen to everyone, that I'm hearing everyone's point of view, whether they align with me politically or not, whether they come from the same party I come from or not. When I am elected, I am representing everyone in DuPage County,
Hmm.
especially in my district.
Hmm.
So my job is to listen to everyone and work with my staff to come up with a solution that is going to benefit most of the people. And that's been my strategy all these years. We will always have challenges. There will always be room to grow and expand and learn. I often joke that being a politician is like being jack of all trades and master of none.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
you have to know a little bit about everything, but we don't really become masters of everything that
Right. It's
we're
hard
with.
to.
And that's where we rely on our staff. We are very
Hmm.
blessed in DuPage County to have amazing staff. They're really experts of their field, and we work with them to make sure that whatever challenges we face, we find a path that helps the most people in my communities.
Hmm. So, in terms of your, uh, I guess your campaign currently, you've already been endorsed by several influential people. How does that feel to you? Like, how personally and politically, what does that support mean to you?
It means a lot to me. It
Hmm.
means that they see the work that I have done over the years,
Hmm.
that they, just the fact that the chair of the county board, DuPage County Board, Chairwoman Deb Conroy, I had this conversation with her, and immediately she's like, "I will endorse you and I will support you," which means a lot to me. The
Hmm.
Asian American Caucus at the state level is supporting my candidacy, is endorsing me. Representative Teresa Ma and Senator Ram Volivalam are supporting me and helping me navigate being a candidate for the state assembly now. So having their support means a lot to me. One, I truly respect their leadership. And I'm also grateful that they see the work that I've been doing in my communities for almost
Hmm.
20 years.
Hmm.
So for them to acknowledge my work, for them to see my body of work and know that I will work hard as well to be hopefully able to win this election, it truly means a lot to me.
Hmm. Yeah. Is your um, mom proud of you?
My
Has she
mom,
endorsed you?
my mom has endorsed me. My mom, I talk to you as the DuPage County Commissioner now, but we haven't touched upon the races that I have lost.
Hmm.
And losing, when we give a job interview and we bomb that job interview, nobody ever finds out we gave that job interview and that we failed.
Hmm.
But when you run for office, everybody knows you're running for office. And when you
Right.
fail, everybody knows you failed, in that endeavor. So I have failed, and I have, you fail publicly when you run for political office. And my mother, I mean, I remember when I lost my county race in 2022, my mother was here with me, and I just cried like a baby. And She would sit with me, make chai for me, lots of chocolates, lots of chai, lots of Kleenex boxes I went through. But she stood by me. She said, I want you to recognize what you have done. You have run for office in the US as an immigrant. And yes, you have failed, but you've done something that many people want to do it, but still don't have the courage to do it. You had the courage to run and
Hmm.
fail, and you're going to run again and you will succeed. And it
Yeah.
did. I did run again and I did succeed. She has endorsed me through and through. Whatever I am,
Hmm.
it's because of the leadership qualities she has instilled in me.
And so as your own role as a mother and a wife, tell us a little bit more. You talked a little bit about your mother. How has the rest of your family supported and inspired your public service journey? And also I would ask you, what is the secret to your success so far? If there's a secret sauce to your, success, what would you say it is?
I would say there are two things. One, again, it sounds cliche, but truly just be yourself. Know what you stand for, know what you believe in. Really sit down with yourself and write all of these things down, things that you're passionate about, things that you stand for, things that you believe in. And once you have a clear idea of what you believe in, just be that, embody that. As
Mm-hmm.
a species, we are evolved to know fake from real.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're really truly embodying your truth and the things and values and policies that you believe in, people see that, people feel that in your presence. So really truly knowing what you believe in and what you stand for and then living your truth, I feel especially for women, it is so important to do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And number two, I got this piece of advice from one of our senior staff members some time ago, and she said, "Sabah, never forget you're one of many board members. No matter how amazing your idea is, no matter how revolutionary your vision is, you are one of many. And in order for you to allow for your vision to come to fruition, you have to work with your team. You have to
Mm-hmm.
work with your board members. You have to work in future with your assembly members.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that building coalitions, building support systems around you, working with others, I feel like is my secret sauce.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And then what about motherhood? What lessons from motherhood do you carry into your leadership and your policy making roles?
Everything, especially the fact that there are no weekends, there are no evenings.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, as a mother, you are never done. There is no
Mm-hmm.
9 to 5 here. You are
Mm-hmm.
always on the go.
Mm-hmm.
You're always doing something or the other. No matter how young your children are or how old your children are,
Mm-hmm.
no matter how independent they are, you're still being a parent. And
Mm-hmm.
that aspect of motherhood, I feel, is so aligned with who you are as a public servant because
Mm-hmm.
your job is really never done.
Right.
Being a public servant isn't a 9 to 5 job. It is,
Mm-hmm.
uh, our weekends are sometimes the most busiest time of the week for us.
Right.
Whether it's ribbon cuttings, whether it is listening to the constituents, whether it is answering a phone call or an email,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
motherhood has trained
Always,
me
it
to
never
be on.
ends.
It
Yeah.
never
Oh, you're
ends.
always on. But then that leads to be my next question. I usually, as a physician and, wellness entrepreneur, I always ask all my interviewees, how do you keep yourself healthy, mentally, physically healthy, well? Do you have any particular routine, any kind of like non-negotiables in your day or week? I'm pretty sure yoga and meditation are in there somewhere, but tell us.
Good guess. Yes, for sure. I truly do feel that being able to practice yoga and meditation helps me get out of my head
Mm-hmm.
because when you are in public service, sometimes you get bogged down by a lot of these things. This is
Mm-hmm.
heavy stuff. This is, when you get into the nitty-gritties of things, it gets a lot. So being able to take myself out of my own head and practice and sometimes even teaching can take me out of my sort of that, public servant mindset. And so making sure that I'm practicing regularly, making sure that I'm physically taking care of myself, that I'm strong, that I have the mental acuity and clarity to be able to look at things objectively, to be able to make intelligent decisions. I truly feel my practice of yoga and meditation has tremendously helped me in being able to do
Yes,
that.
definitely. Yeah. Yoga activates the parasympathetic nervous system. It kind of
Mhm.
calms you down a little bit. Really, the parasympathetic nervous system is what helps your body heal as well. So
Yes.
that's part of the rejuvenating and, like you said, getting out of your head sometimes and in your body, or just allowing it gives you more clarity instead of 100 thoughts going on, confusing
Yes.
you about what the next step is. So that's a really good um, really good practice. Yes. Anything else in terms of how your family has supported your journey? I think you mentioned like your daughter would be like, "Hey, get out there." Any other,
Yeah.
yeah, support from your family on this journey?
So, some again, as I said, sometimes when I am mulling over a situation, I'm thinking of that question or a challenge or a problem from a certain mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, and I'm often coming to the same conclusions because I sometimes can have these set patterns that I'm following.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes when I have those conversations and open that problem up to my family, for example, my 17-year-old or my 13-year-old or my husband, he's from the banking background. He's an anti-money laundering expert. So, very different uh,
Mm-hmm.
way of looking at things. Sometimes they bring this unique perspective that I feel like I cannot often because I'm so stuck to a pattern that I'm looking at it through my experiences. So being able to have different ideas and perspectives, being able to have these conversations where they're challenging me, they're stimulating me mentally and pushing my mindset further has been hugely helpful. Being
Mm-hmm.
able to have those conversations that allows me to have a younger perspective, that allows me
Mm-hmm.
to bring into a perspective of a 17-year-old boy, of a 13-year-old young girl. How
Yeah,
does she see social media? How does she sees how policies around her are affecting her life? So
that's
having
good.
those conversations, I feel they've tremendously been helpful in being an effective public servant in my life.
That's really good. So let's go to now some not so work related stuff. Let's just do some like fun questions.
Sure.
Talk about, let's go back to like childhood, your school days at Holy Child School.
Yes.
Is there like a funny memory or something you think about that still makes you laugh or smile?
The most fun part of being in my schooling life was biking from my house to my school, which was about 6, 7 miles each way, with a group of friends, all every day together. We would leave our house, early morning, and we would bike for 7 miles to be able to go to our school. And this was a all girls convent school. So these, bunch of girls just riding the bike every day, and every morning, every afternoon, and the friendships that we have built, the connections, the laughter, the joy, the
That
simple
sounds like a
joys.
really good memory, yeah. And good
Yes,
exercise too,
good
outside,
exercise too. Yes,
exercise,
mhm,
sharpens your mind as well. So you're
absolutely.
ready for school
And you're
when
out
you
in
get
the
there.
sun,
Out in the
you're
sun, getting ready.
exercising. So I think that, and some of these women, they're still, some of my closest friends. So I think that's really
That's
cool.
good. Yeah. What about if you could invite three people, living or, historical? If you could invite three people for dinner, who would you invite and why?
This is really hard. My list is going to be so long
You're like,
because
just three?
like,
Yeah.
just three is really hard. I feel like if you look at my educational training, I was really heavily influenced by Jane Goodall, Dr.
Hmm.
Jane Goodall. She is
Right.
a
The wildlife
primatologist.
biologist with the
Yes,
gorillas and
gorillas, chimpanzees,
chimpanzees. Yeah.
and I've really studied her work in my school time. I even actually currently reading her book, The Book of Hope. I feel like every young girl should read that book. It is just, I think, being able to sit down with Dr. Goodall would be phenomenal, just because
Hmm.
she's been an icon for me for a very, very long time.
Hmm.
Um,
Anyone else?
I want to sit down with Mehdi Hassan, the
Mm.
journalist.
Hmm.
Just his ability to be able to debate,
Mm.
his communication skills, I believe, no matter what you believe in politically, ideologically, just the pure ability to be able to communicate with facts and the preparation and the way that he presents himself. I think every politician, every public speaker can learn a lot from Mehdi Hassan for sure.
Mhm. And one more.
One more. I would like to sit down with all the women of my background,
Mm.
my grandmothers,
Mhm.
my great grandmothers. I did spend some time with them, but I didn't spend enough time, and
Mhm.
at the age that I wanted to have time with them.
Mhm.
I spent time with them when I was
Too
in
young
my
to really understand a lot, right?
right, like they understand their trials and tribulations.
Mhm.
The fact that my grandmother, my mom's mom, taught herself how to read English so she could take public transport and know which bus is going to what place. She
Amazing.
knew how to read
Wow.
Urdu and write Urdu. She didn't know how to read names on the buses of the places that they're going to in
Mhm.
English. So
Mhm.
she self-taught herself English to be able to travel from one place to the other. So things like that,
Mhm.
I want to get into their psyche and understand
Mhm.
how did they push through that. That seems like a lot of work. I have
Mhm.
access to internet and I still cannot learn another new language. And she had no
Yeah.
access. She read the Bible in she wanted to read Bible because we were so heavily influenced by the British
Mhm.
in our country, and she just wanted to learn about their culture and their faith. And she somehow found a Bible in Urdu and read Bible in Urdu way back when in the 1930s and 40s.
Okay.
So I would really want to sit down with my ancestors, the women of my
That's great.
background.
What about one fun fact about you that most people do not know, whether they're in politics or in your community?
I'll share two. Okay. One, I have lived in the jungles to follow endangered species. I've sat outside of a leopard den
Wow.
following the movement of the, leopardess, and she had just given birth to these cubs, and just being
Amazing. Wow. A leopardess and her cubs. It's pretty
and her
dangerous
cubs.
territory.
It's
So you should
very
be perfectly set up for politics. I mean,
right,
that's
like
nothing. Like the political playing field is no big deal compared to
yes,
the
yes.
jungle.
The jungles, yes. So I've done that, and oftentimes people don't know that aspect
Hmm.
of my training, my
Hmm.
education. I love ghazals. I love
Hmm.
music a
Hmm.
lot,
Hmm.
and I'm a really bad singer. As much as
But
I
you love
love
listening to it.
music, I love
Hmm.
listening to it. I'm
Yeah.
a horrible singer, but I just love Urdu poetry. I love ghazals. I love Hindi songs.
Nice.
So.
What, so is that one, does that help you unwind? Because I was going to ask you, how do you unwind after all this, the long days of meetings, campaigning, community work, everything? What's
Yes.
your unwinding?
My unwinding is at the end of the day just snuggling with my kids and watching something mindless on Netflix sometimes.
Hmm.
It doesn't happen
Hmm.
very often. I wish it happened more often. It doesn't
Hmm.
happen very often, but whenever we get a chance, just watching something silly and funny um,
Hmm.
with
That's
my
good. That's
with my
good. Just
children.
relaxing,
Mhm.
somewhat mindless, just
Yes.
fun.
And then having a cup of chai with my
Of
besties,
course.
with friends, that they get me out of
Hmm.
my head. They keep me in check as well. I think we need, a tribe of women, a tribe of friends that keep you really real and true and hold you accountable.
Hmm.
And I'm very blessed to have these amazing women in my life that do that.
That's great.
So that helps me
Very
unwind as
nice.
well. Mhm.
We're just about at the end. So, in closing, what would you say? Is there a message that you would like to share with other South Asian women, um, or anybody, in our readers, uh, our viewers who look up to leaders like you? Is there a kind of a closing message that you would like to share?
That's an excellent question. And I'm glad that we are ending this conversation with that important question. My message to all the young South Asian women is that find leaders and mentors in your community and ask for help. And when you're looking for mentors, don't look for super successful people. Look for people that are doing just the next step that you want to do. So sometimes when we think of mentors, we think of, oh my gosh, if I want to be a politician, I should be able to talk to a congressman or a senator or someone really way up, on the ladder. While that is great, it really doesn't help us to get to that place because you really need to understand how to take the next step. So find
Mm-hmm.
a mentor who's already living that next step that you want to take, whether it is politics, whether it is healthcare, whether it is education or research. Find
Mm-hmm.
that mentor that's living the next step that you want to live, and then find the next step, and then find the next step. Don't hesitate in asking for help. People don't, I don't think there's a lot of things that people enjoy than being asked for help and be a mentor. The mentors really enjoy being able to mentee someone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that is not easy for us as women to connect with. We think it's a burden,
Mm-hmm.
it's for us to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
While there are plenty of people out there that are willing to help you and get you to the next step. That being said, if anyone who's listening to this and wants to be in politics, especially South Asian women, don't hesitate to reach out. You can find me at Saba Haider, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions, sit down with you, have a Zoom just like this to chat with you
Excellent.
and be of service.
Thank you so much. It was a really enjoyable discussion. I love your passion and how you blend the jungle into politics and public service. It's all beautiful collaboration and how family and strength support you through it. Your message about just being authentic, is resonate. A lot of the women I've spoken to have similar, the same thing like be yourself, know what you stand for and be that. And that's really the, you know, one of the biggest secrets for success as well.
Yes.
Uh,
And often it is seen very cliche when you say be yourself. We've seen this written on
mhm.
an empty number of things, be yourself, be yourself. And
It's
as
like you
as
have to
reductive,
know who that is before you be it. So that's where a lot of people forget. But anyway, thank you so much. It was a pleasure, and we wish you all the best.
thank you, Dr.
Thank
Parvez.
you.
I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak to you. Thank you to your team in making this possible. You are so thorough. Your questions were so amazing,
Oh,
so
thank you.
professional, and I truly appreciate and honor this interaction with
Oh,
you.
thank you so much.